What does international law say about the Venezuela-US situation? Well, it's very simple under international law. There are three reasons that you can lawfully engage in cross-border conflict. One, self-defense. Article 51 of the UN Charter says you can defend yourself as long as it's appropriate and reasonable. Two, the host nation consents, so the other country says, please come help us. Three is the Security Council authorizes it. Now, when you look at that, the reality is that none of those criteria are met. But because it's international law, you have to look at both sides. So the US would argue, well, actually, one, we were being affected. We did need to defend ourselves. Venezuela was doing things that were unlawful, bringing narcotics into our country, etc. Or two, the host country did consent. There were dissidents in Venezuela who actually were asking for us to come and support and help them. This was an unlawful government. That would be their two arguments under international law. But the thing about international law is it needs to be enforced somewhere. And the difficulty is when you've got a hegemony and they can push forward the doctrine of might is right, you have a very difficult time having these conversations. And people understandably go, well, how can we have faith that this is done for this reason? So it's a complicated situation. International law, though, that's really the three reasons. Follow me for more legal tips.
A lot of people will disagree with me, but let's be honest for once. There is no such thing as international law. Whether you like it or not, there is nothing like international law. There is no true rules-based order. No consistent respect for territorial integrity, because the same powers that claim to enforce international law are often the ones violating it. You can name them. International law is not applied equally. It is enforced downwards against nations with no military power, no economic leverage, and no real ability to defend their sovereignty. Just look at Africa. Libya was bombed and destroyed in 2011. A sovereign state collapsed. Millions displaced, and no one was held accountable. In the Congo, foreign corporations and armed groups have extracted minerals for decades, fueling endless violence, while international law remains silent. In the Sahel, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, foreign military forces operated for years with little improvement in security, yet local resistance was labeled illegal or terrorism. Sudan burns. Sanctions punish civilians. Weapons continue to flow. So where is the law? You see, what actually governs the world is power, empire, and the race for oil, gold, uranium, cobalt, and influence. International law exists, but only where power allows it. Africa doesn't suffer from chaos. Africa suffers from a system designed without their consent. Thank you for watching.
We are deeply worried about the situation in Venezuela following the U.S. military operation over the weekend. It is clear that the operation undermined a fundamental principle of international law, that states must not threaten or use force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. The U.S. has justified its intervention on the grounds of the Venezuelan government's long-standing and appalling human rights record. But far from being a victory for human rights, this military intervention, which is in contravention of Venezuelan sovereignty and the UN Charter, damages the architecture of international security, making every country less safe.
My one hope from America's ridiculous intervention in Venezuela is that people finally realize that there's no such thing as international law. Under this world, power decides all. There's no international law. There's no nation that actually follows it. All nations do is pursue their own interests. And if you have the power to protect it, then so be it. That's the law of the land. There's no international law. There's no international courts, really and truly. There's no international police. Every single nation is free to do whatever it wants to do to its own discretion. And the only thing that matters is that they have the military force and power to see that will through. There's no justification under international law for America to enter a sovereign nation state and kidnap its president, then go on to charge the president for crimes under American law inside of American courts. That has zero precedence under any international law, and yet it's just been done. And we have not seen the UN or any such organization actually doing anything to stop it, because the only thing that matters is power, military power and strength. If you like it, So be it in this world.
Breaking news. 5 members of NATO say Donald Trump of the United States are acting out of international law. We have Denmark, we have Finland, Norway, and Sweden regarding the possibility of the United States militarily going after Greenland. And we have Spain, likewise, about the United States involvement in Venezuela. This is huge. Again, if you don't know this, under Article 5, if any member of NATO is attacked, all members are attacked. So we're going to see what will happen if Donald Trump tries to move against Greenland. Donald Trump has stated again tonight on Air Force One that he thinks that the United States needs Greenland for strategic purposes. Again, it has the 7th largest supply deposits of rare earth minerals of any country in the world. And Donald Trump, again, is expressing his interest in going after it. Donald Trump, you're dividing the United States and separating the United States from the rest of the world with this imperialistic position that you're taking. It's not justified, it's not legal, and you're dragging us down into potentially more wars that you promised none. So far, since you've been president, you've been very active in attacking other countries. Facts stand for themselves. And you're not doing anything to benefit the American people. Only yourself and the oil companies and these various businesses that would gain from us taking over these countries. Venezuela people do not want the United States there. They don't need us managing it, and they can manage their own affairs. Likewise, Greenland is part of Denmark, and they want to stay that way. What, do you think you're now Putin as he tries to take over Ukraine? This is wrong legally and morally, and your chief of staff, Susie Wiles, said it would be illegal to do so back in her Vanity Fair interview in November. Clearly, all that tune changed, or she forgot that it was illegal for you to do this. What do you all think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and the burned out light bulbs. Do you all want the United States getting into more wars because of Donald Trump? I thought he said no wars. What happened to that, Donald Trump?